When you know that you are queer, but your favorite drink is beer, that's gayish. You can bottom without stopping, but you can't stand going shopping, that's gayish. Oh, gayish, you're probably gayish. Well, life's just too short for narrow stereotypes, so it's gayish. We're also gayish. It's Gayish with Mike and Kyle.
Hello, everyone in the podcast universe. This is Gayish,
the podcast that must have 3 strikes because we are out.
Yeah, and so many balls before that. I'm Mike Johnson.
I'm Kyle Getz.
We're here to bridge the gap between sexuality and actuality. And today we're going to talk about trans stuff.
Yeah, we are doing our long-requested, long-awaited interview with a trans mass person. We've talked to a trans femme person. We've talked to a non-binary person. We've had other trans people on in general, but this is that kind of like, let's just ask all the questions you're not supposed to, so you don't do it.
Yep, that's exactly right.
Yeah.
And boy, my list of questions is juicy.
Ooh, interesting.
He's in for a wild ride.
Okay.
But first, quick correction. At the risk of being church racist and saying that they all are alike, I messed up the story last week when I said that the church in Zilla that hosted the Romeo and Juliet play that had everybody upset because of the trans rights thing and the potentially gender nonconforming person that was cast as Romeo, it was not the Church of Godzilla. It was the Church of the Nazarene. Those are different churches. They're not all the same.
You're welcome, Zilla, for that correction.
Yep.
You were on pins and needles.
Yep. That's
Cool.
it. It's a different church, Kyle. They have more than one church in Zilla, believe it or not.
Oh, good for them.
Yeah.
Well, or bad for us.
Well, you know. Okay. Hey, everybody.
Hey, buddies.
Fucking listen up.
Oh, hi.
You dickbags.
Hi, friends.
We are going on a tour this year. It's a 6-city stop, not to be confused with a 3-hour tour in Gilligan's Island. Tickets are on sale May the 1st, and our production assistant Derek reminded me that this is the last episode before that.
I did.
No,
thanks.
No, let's give Derek credit where he doesn't deserve it. Yeah, tickets are on sale May the 1st. Please buy the tickets.
Those are pre-sale tickets, so they are going to be discounted for now. So now's your chance to swoop in and get your tickets.
Except for New York City, because those have already been in pre-sale and will stay in pre-sale until May 1st, and then they will go up in price, unless you're a Patreon person. Also, I'll be posting to Patreon the discount code, which gets you 50% off. That will also happen May the 1st. So check the app before you buy your tickets so that you can get cash money back.
Yeah, and at Patreon, you get your discount no matter when you buy it. That's one of your the benefits that we're doing this time around. But please, if you're going to come, please buy tickets so we know. It's really helpful to like have numbers and stuff. So
yeah.
Even though there's no rush because your discount is permanent.
Yeah,
it'll help us.
Do it sooner rather than later because it helps my blood pressure.
Yeah, samesies.
Also, everybody, I want everybody to know we're not even going to break even on this tour. Like, one way to talk all of these fucking bars into letting us do our gay-ass podcast was saying that we were going to buy you all a drink. So, like, at least half of your ticket is just a drink ticket, like, so that you can, have a cocktail with us. So,
yeah. We're doing this for the love of the game.
Yeah. Just keep that in mind. That, like, your ticket price includes a beverage. That's all.
Yeah. Yeah, come out. It's going to be a lot of fun. We're excited to, like Mike said, we're doing these shows not to make money or anything because we won't, but just because we love doing them and people have wanted for us to start doing live shows and it's great to see people. So come out.
Yep, absolutely. It's gayishpodcast.com/live is where all of the details are. But that's June 4th in New York, June 23rd here in Seattle, July 29th in Chicago, August 13th in San Francisco, September 10th in Los Angeles, and October 15th in Houston, right in Kyle's back hole.
Yeah, so do it.
Do it. Now the news?
Yeah.
Great.
Shut your mouth hole, it's time for your ear holes. News.
News the first. Barry Humphries, known for his drag persona Dame Edna Everage, is dead at the age of 89. Now, I mention him because I don't want people to give me the "I can't believe you didn't" bullshit. And
a good motivator for anything.
yeah, and I want to be clear that he's problematic.
Oh.
And I don't necessarily want to like gloss over that. Like, it's okay to be sad. He was a big deal and kind of problematic. So he was hilarious, a genius, and for sure like a pioneer in bringing drag into the mainstream, like well before RuPaul was even fucking born. Right? He's been doing drag as a mainstream comedy thing since the 50s and 60s. But he did say some pretty heinous shit about trans people in 2016. He was wholly unapologetic about it, and then doubled down to talk about political correctness as being a disease, and that cancel culture is ruining comedy. He was also maybe racist, at least told a racist joke that Selma Hayek got involved in and was super pissed about. So anyway, just like, he's a big deal and funny, and it's okay to be sad. He was almost 90, product of his time, blah, 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 but also kind of a problematic dude. Also, he was straight and married, so whatever.
Huh. Weird.
Yeah.
What a weird guy.
Yep, weird dude.
Huh. Yeah. I mean, we talked about him at a party. Like, it was big enough that, like, this came up in our friend groups. Like,
yeah, exactly right.
It's like, I don't really know why I know him, but I know him. Like, just kind of that ubiquitous.
I mean, that's what an icon is, Kyle.
Yeah. Yep.
Also not A-list. Okay. News the second. So the United States House of Representatives, which I will remind you is controlled by the dickbag asshole fuckface party, the Republican GOP party, has passed the Protection of Women and Girls in Sports Act.
Oh, no.
Which prohibits those assigned male at birth from competing on female sports teams in K through 12 schools and universities that receive federal funding.
Not like working on making sure they get equal pay or opportunities or access or any of the actual issues that affect women's sports.
Correct. Correct, Kyle.
Cool. Let's protect those women.
Or anything else that matters, right?
Yeah.
It was along party lines, 219 to 203. There were 13 people who didn't vote, which,
wow,
that's, way to stay on the fence for that one. But it's also just theater. It's all theater. It is dead on arrival in the Democrat-controlled Senate, so this will not pass into law, but they just are totally, creating a situation where they can say, we tried to save women, and the Democrats fucked it up because this is their wedge issue. Like, abortion is our wedge issue. Their issue is trans stuff. Anyway, so
which shouldn't downplay, like, that they're then directly negatively impacting trans people's lives. So although they are using that for political gain, that they're like shitting on a giant part of our community, which sucks to be the recipient of that dump.
Yep.
Wow, that was not my best metaphor.
So it's not working on the federal level because the Democrats control the White House and the Senate. But at the state level, shit is fucked and it's getting worse. So this is news to be, which is that a trans lawmaker in the state of Montana has been denied the opportunity to speak until she apologizes for saying lawmakers would have, quote, blood on their hands if they supported a bill that bans gender-affirming medical care for trans youth.
Well, stop killing trans people then, and then you won't have blood on your hands anymore.
Yep.
That seems like a you problem.
This is her first term in the state house. And go ahead.
The party that loves free speech is not letting her speak. Like,
yeah, for sure. For sure. Also, so there's a couple of things. She also references the small government thing that, like, quote, it's hypocritical, but it's coming from a caucus who talks about limited government as their goal, and then the very same caucus is pushing to take away medical care that is accepted by every major medical association from people like me. I think there's inherently a hypocritical nature there, but I'm not surprised that they would stoop so low as to misgender me. In all of the press releases released by the Republicans, they repeatedly refer to her using male pronouns. It's disgusting. It's absolutely disgusting. What she actually said: the only thing I will say is if you vote yes on this bill and yes on these amendments, I hope the next time there's an invocation where you bow your heads in prayer, you see the blood on your hands.
Oh,
and
that's great.
So they say that she is being uncivil. The Speaker of the House, Matt Regier, I don't know, he's a fucker, says, quote, it's up to me to maintain decorum here on the House floor to protect the dignity and integrity and any representative that I don't feel can do that will not be recognized. She posted a picture of her microphone with her I want to talk light on, and has been like that. She just said, my light is on and I'm ready to speak on behalf of the constituents who elected me to do so. It's really interesting to me that it's like, I don't know, legal to like just ignore an elected representative. Like, you just don't get to participate in what's in the Constitution. It just is fucking crazy to me.
And one person gets to be like, do I call on you or not? Like, this isn't like Mrs. Hampton's third grade class where like, Billy, you've talked too much. Like, let's keep it quiet for a second. This is like someone that was elected to speak.
Yeah. Oh, Montana. Why do you have to be like this? Oh, everywhere else that's red or even purple.
Oh, America.
Why are you like this? This is why we can't have nice things. Anyway, she said, I'm going to continue to do what I was sent here to do. I will punch in on every bill that I feel like I have things to say about, things to speak on, and I will punch in, ask, and demand to be recognized. Where that goes from here depends largely on the speaker and the body. If they're going to see fit to allow me to partake in debate, as is my right as a duly elected representative of the state of Montana. Good luck. News the last.
Great.
My favorite news story of the week.
Ooh.
Lizzo.
Oh, yeah.
Lizzo was in Knoxville, Tennessee at Thompson Bowling Arena and invited a bunch of drag queens to join her on stage, which is not yet illegal, but the state of Tennessee...
It's trying to be...
About a month ago, Republican Governor Bill Lee signed into law a bill that criminalizes public drag performances, but that bill has been temporarily halted after a Memphis-based theater group sued. So it's legal for now on a court technicality kind of a thing. So, but Lizzo's definitely like flaunting, I brought drag queens with me. Here we go. Fucking deal with it.
That's how you do it. That was amazing.
Yeah.
That's how you use your platform and your, like, there are certain people that have the ability to make a statement and make a big splash and make a show. And it's a very small number of people that can do things like that. And she's one of them.
Yep. During the show, she said, quote, in light of recent and tragic events and current events, I was told by people on the internet, cancel your shows in Tennessee. Don't go to Tennessee. Their reason was valid, but why would I not come to the people who need to hear this message the most?
That's kind of a consistent thing. Like, you hear people say, well, like, we're not going to this state, and that, you know, for whatever reason, like, I remember this happening around bathroom bills.
Yeah.
And people be like, oh, well, we're not going to go to your state then because of that bill. And I can see that being a useful tactic. Like, you don't get our money, and people are, but then I also see people going, but if you're going to go, do something like make a donation or make a statement or make a point out of it.
I think both can be true, and they don't cancel each other out at all. That a business who has nothing to do with queer shit can say, change your shit or we're pulling our business out, like the NCAA, or like fucking Salesforce did that in Indiana during the RFRA stuff. That is totally valid. I also think queer people, queer content makers, can and totally should go to those places and give them the giant middle finger in person, right? Like saying be nicer to gay people or we're out, valid. Gay people going to a place is saying, here we are, we're fucking gay, deal with us, valid.
Yeah, absolutely.
The drag queens that were featured included Asia O'Hara, Aquaria, Candy Muse, and Vanessa Vanjie from RuPaul's Drag Race. There's a fuck ton of them, and my favorite part is that even with all that fabulousness, Lizzo still is like, stands out in this picture. She's like, Lizzo might be my favorite drag queen now. Anyway, fuck you, Tennessee, and the horse you rode in on.
Yeah, thanks, Lizzo. I would like.
That's the news.
Oh, right. I was already on to that. I was moving this ship forward.
Crack that whip.
Someone's got to, and it's
crack that whip. Devo. Now we got to add that to the list.
Licorice whip. Oh. That's The Simpsons. I would like to thank both Licorice Whips and the following new Patreon members. One new Patreon member, Philip and Gilbert.
Is that really two?
I don't know. Philip and Gilbert.
Oh.
Are we being honest about how many people are signing up for this account?
Why does that sound like Bert and Ernie to me?
It sounded like Rosencrantz and Guildenstern or something to me. I'm going to just, instead, this is Filbert.
Filbert.
Yes.
Welcome.
Because you're only allowed to have one name. Sorry. You can't have two people. Thank you, Filbert. Or Gillip? Nope. Filbert.
Filbert's better.
If you want to join Patreon, get bonus content, have me try to say your name.
Get 50% off your live show tickets.
50% off your live show ticket. We have a happy hour coming up, so now's a great time to join on May the 3rd at 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 p.m. Eastern. We all get together, have drinks, chat. It's a lot of fun, so you can join for just $2, and everyone is invited. So look out for the details that'll be posted on May the 3rd to the Patreon app. There's a lot to check Patreon for.
Yeah, you should make sure that your Patreon account works and that your shit is up to date, because we use it for talking to you about stuff.
Yeah. So make sure you join and see us there.
Great. You want to talk about trans stuff?
Yeah, let's do it. So I wanted to start off with, we are, of course, I think maybe we could have done a better job of this in previous discussions where this is the topic, and what we're doing is we are interviewing one person and there are a variety of experiences. So I think partially one of the reason that we got requests for trans mask is both it's another experience that is important to showcase, and trans femme people do get a lot more kind of visibility in actors and models, and people you think of tend to be trans women. So want to make sure we give the spotlight to everyone. But then, of course, in doing so, there's plenty of other people and experiences out there. But I just wanted to
also, it feels like these days there's more focus on trans women, because of sports, because of bathroom bills stuff. I'm not going to say trans men have it easier, because they clearly don't, but they don't seem to be the target as much lately.
It's interesting, and maybe we'll ask. We're going to have Ezra on, who I saw on Instagram.
Pussyboy.
So we'll talk to him more about just his experience and all that. But just for now, I wanted to give an overview from Pew Research. Sure. From 2022. That said,
I love the look on your face. You paused and you knew
this is happening, and I thought we were going to breeze past it real quick, but we're hovering in this area.
One of these days, I will be able to control myself and surprise you.
You're right. I would be very surprised.
That is not today. Go ahead.
It's not. So 1.6% of people in the U.S. say that their gender is different than that assigned to them at birth, which I like that question, that it's not just are you a trans man or woman, or it's not limiting it. It's just, is your gender different than that assigned to you at birth? Yep. Of those, and this is where we will they will not give us the full spectrum, all the possible identities, but at least the data they have is of that 1.6%, the 0.6 are trans men or women, and 1% is non-binary.
Okay.
Of course, there are other identities that could be we could discuss in here: gender fluid people, gender queer, two-spirit. There are a lot of different identities beyond just these. So, and then also, what I was surprised by, I didn't realize this, for the people ages 18 to 29, that number is 5%. 5% say they are not their gender assigned at birth.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah. So this is one of those things where we don't know the true number of trans people because they are so discriminated against. Go see our episode on left-handedness. It's not that there are more left-handed people. We just stopped being shitty to them. There are not more trans people in the world. It's just becoming more well-known. People now can put a word to their experience.
Or, counterpoint, remember when we said that glitter was transing the fish?
Or
maybe drag queen sequins are transing our kids.
Oh, drag queen sequins are the new fish glitter.
Yep.
You all knew it was coming. You could have predicted that sentence from a mile away. So I think we'll get to see the real number, as it becomes more talked about.
You like to bring up the left-handed thing pretty regularly, right? That like left-handedness, there's this huge rise in left-handedness that it's not because people are more left-handed, it's that we stop being shitty to them.
Yeah. Yep. Exactly. So another just interesting data point, 44% of people, again, in the U.S. say they know a trans person personally.
How many percent?
44.
That seems high to me.
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah. That's going to be one of the ways that there's a difference is, as you know, and this same is true of gay people, like the more you get to know actual humans and not think of people as identities, then the more you treat them with respect, unless you're a Republican.
It is easy to hate an idea. It is hard to hate a person.
Yeah.
Visibility matters.
Yep.
Hashtag come out.
It's beautiful. You almost maybe a little bit more selling it at the end next time. But
I mean, I didn't know where I was going with it when I started the sentence. So
podcasting. That's what podcasting is. It's starting something you don't know how to finish. That's also like sex with me. Anything else before we?
I'm sure. Well, we may or may not reiterate this with him when he joins us, and I just want to be clear to everybody. We're going to ask questions because we have been given explicit permission to ask these questions. This is shit that you should not just casually ask a trans person. You just don't. We get to, because this is our show. This is
what we're doing, and we're like, it's okay to be curious about things. Also, how do you channel your curiosity? Like, listen to this, or you can look things up online. Plenty of people are willing to share their stories, but yeah, this is all shit. Don't ask a trans person any of this.
Yep. Just don't.
Don't.
Okay, great. So we're gonna take a break, and when we get back, we're gonna have Ezra with us, Pussyboy, and we're gonna have a big old chat. So, should we take a break?
Let's take a break.
This is the part where Mike and Kyle take a break.
So are we back?
We're back.
We're back.
And we want to welcome Ezra Michel to the show. Thank you so much for being here.
Thanks for having me.
Okay, so I discovered you through Instagram, and then I quickly discovered your use of the word pussy boy. So we want to ask you about a lot of things, but I thought that might be a place to start. Like, tell me a little bit about the word pussy boy.
And that's not just a thing that we called you at the top of the show. That's
we did reference it, but you use that word.
Yes, I use that word. I love that word. It's it started because I was making a reel on Instagram about having a UTI, and it was like a vulnerable reel. I just like started talking and I just posted it. It was like, I said the word pussy in reference to my own body, and it was the first time that I'd ever said it publicly. Like, I used it in like personal life, like for a while, but it was the first time. And I knew when I posted it, I was like, wow, I said the word pussy like 3 times in this video. I wonder what's going to happen. I wonder if people will like notice. And of course, binary trans guys noticed. And some of the binary trans guys that had been following me decided to publicly announce they're unfollowing me because of that word. And I noted, I was just like, wow, that is so incredible that one word has that effect on us as a community. And I remember being really triggered by that word myself at one point in my transition. And I don't know, it just sort of like made me think about how I healed from it. And it was just from exposure to it and starting to use it playfully and getting comfortable with my body and getting comfortable with that word. And it just sort of like dawned on me like, oh, I could make a funny phrase out of this, like pussy boy, and like as like a reclamation or like a way to expose myself to it.
Yeah, I was just gonna ask if that feels like reclamation, if that's like empowerment through taking it back, kind of a thing. Like,
yeah, I'd say so. I mean, it was a way that a lot of times I felt emasculated. Yeah. You know, like I'd be on Grindr and like people would message me telling me that I was hot or whatever, and that they didn't mind that I had a pussy, as opposed to like, you know, being excited by it. It was like, oh, like, I don't mind even that you have one. Like, it's okay with me. And I'm like, that's not, if you think that that's the way into my pants, that's not okay. Like, you know?
Well, you mentioned Grindr. So first, right out of the gate, like, what is your sexual orientation, gender identity, pronouns, all of that?
I use he, him pronouns primarily, but all pronouns are fine with me. I identify as bisexual because I think it's a cute word.
Great.
I've never heard that explanation for why someone identifies as bisexual, but I love it.
I mean, it's like cute. It's historic. Like there's more history to it. I think it's like, bye. And queer is fine. I guess like pansexual is a word that probably encompasses my sexuality the best, but I don't like that word. It's just like annoying to me. So,
Yeah.
And then I identify as a trans man, a non-binary trans man.
Talk to me about, like, some people may be confused at the idea of like man, the fact that man is in there feels binary, but you're saying non-binary trans man. Can you tell me about those two words working together?
Yeah, I mean, I like identifying as a man. I think it's a fun, like, little haha, me too. Like, I'm in this club as well.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't know. Like, there's a part of me that just feels like it's important to take up space in that category to diversify what it means to be a man, you know? And I do walk through the world as a man, so I have a lot of male privilege. I know what it feels like to not have male privilege and then have male privilege. And there's such thing as male privilege, and it does exist.
Yeah.
I can definitely confirm. I love the way I'm treated now. It's awesome compared to what it was like before.
I should have mentioned up top, you are a musician, a model. You created pussyboy apparel. That word is big in your presence. You're a barber, so you do a lot of things. So I should have mentioned all that. But okay, it's interesting. So few people can have the experience of gaining male privilege in a way that you're describing. What don't people that have just lived their lives as men having that privilege and not recognizing it? Like how did that change? What did that change for you?
I guess it just made me more confident, like more certain that people would listen to me when I started speaking. When my voice dropped, the way that I could grab people's attention was different. The way that I could keep people's attention was different. And I'm somebody who, like, you know, even though I have my voice registers as male most of the time, I still sometimes get misgendered on the phone because I sound like a faggot.
For those
And we
that
know
can't
that.
see, there's a little bit of a hand or wrist motion that accompanied that.
I mean, we all know, like, yeah, it's kind of like, I talked like this before my voice dropped. And then once my voice dropped, I was like getting, like, people were receiving me as a gay man, a cis gay man. And I was like, why does everyone think I'm gay? I just really didn't think to myself, oh, like, the way that I speak is going to stay the same. It's going to be in a lower register. So I still sound very effeminate in the way that I speak. That didn't change from testosterone.
Interesting.
I guess, like, why I said that is because, like, I have male privilege, but I have the male privilege of, like, an effeminate gay man. So there's still, like, you know, I still have, like, people disregarding what I'm saying, you know, mechanics and construction workers and things like that.
Are you good with, like, things like cars or construction or, like, home stuff? Like, I am not good at. Someone should disregard me, absolutely, because I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about. Are you?
I
good
actually do.
Okay.
My dad is a plumbing contractor, and I worked for him for 2 years, so I know plumbing, and I know a lot of construction. I built my barbershop, actually. I made that.
Wow.
Barbershop. Yeah.
That's
Very
really
cool.
impressive. Good for you. Damn. I wish I knew stuff like that.
I'm really thankful that when the zombie apocalypse happens, there will still be people that can get shit done in the world. So,
Oh yeah. I mean, me and my partner watch Survivor, and I'm always like, I could do that. I could do that.
I
could eat a worm. Oh.
I'm like, what, they like show up and get off the plane, and I'm like, I would be out skis. Like, right now is about when I would quit. They're like, welcome, and I'd be like, okay, thank you, bye. Like, I'm really curious. You talked a little bit about your experience on Grindr. Like, man, what's a Grindr? I already think of. I got kicked off Grindr, so I don't know what it's. Who knows what it's been like.
It's not gotten better.
I just think of it as a really toxic place already. So yeah, what's being on Grindr, or what has it been like?
I mean, I used to use it. I don't use it anymore. Me and my partner are monogamous, but when I was out there, you know, For the most part, it was unsolicited dick pics and people trying to get my nudes. And I hooked up with like probably, I would say like under 10 people from Grindr, and none of them were incredibly like life-changing or anything. It was just always like, oh, you came and now we're done. Awesome. Because like cis gay men often are like really turned on by the fact that I guess the people that are like reaching out to me and like actually making an effort, they're turned on by my juxtaposition of parts. They're like, this is hot, you're hot, whatever. And then once we like get together and actually like we're like meeting up in person, they seem to get like a little nervous. Like they're like all talk. They're like, I'm gonna eat your pussy and you're gonna come like 10 times. And I'm like, I doubt it, but like if you say so, like if you really, and then they'll go down on me for like 2 minutes and then feel like, you know, whatever, like they didn't achieve what they thought they'd achieve in 2 minutes. And then they're like, did you come? And I'm like, bitch, no. Girl, no. I didn't. You'd know.
Would give you an A for effort, but you don't deserve it, right?
Yeah, you don't deserve it. And then, yeah, I mean, that was like a very consistent experience for me. So I kind of gave up on the hookup thing.
A lot of trans guys I'm aware of on social media or dating apps feel they talk about trans chasers as being a thing. I would assume that that's most interactions. Is that true?
I don't know. I have a hard time with that because it's like I prefer people who like are trans amorous, people who like trans people or are attracted to trans people, because there's the higher chance that they're like experienced with us. Yeah, so it's a fine line between people who are just genuinely attracted to trans people versus people who fetishize us. And I feel like the chasers are the ones who just dehumanize us and see us as like sexual objects, as opposed to human beings with a really rich history and like an interesting past and like an interesting story. Because like that can be a really attractive quality in somebody to like, you know, I'm attracted to trans people because we're like fascinating and cool, you know, in a human way, not just like, oh, like hot, that guy has a pussy, like holes, you know, boy with holes, which is like, you know, I get it, but also like, it's not nice to be seen as a boy with just some holes.
I've seen a lot of dudes, cis dudes, who have on their profile that they are trans competent. That's a identifier I've seen. Do you have a reaction to that as like a thing to put in a profile?
I mean, that's a little cocky. I think that I wouldn't pursue somebody who's like boasting about that. I'd probably be like, ooh, cringe.
Yeah. Personally,
like, I just, you know, don't be weird about it. Like, that's the thing. Like, don't be all weird. Like, it's not attractive. Like, but maybe some trans people would be like, oh, that's a safe person. You know, I just think that's cringe as hell.
Yeah. Makes sense.
So you talked a little bit about being on testosterone. Tell me about your HRT journey. Like, what was that like?
Well, I was 18 when I started. I'm 27 now. I'm turning 28 soon. So I'm like 9 years as of March 3rd. 9 years on T, which makes me like a grandpa in the community. Like, quite frankly, like I am a seasoned old man.
Sure. But
I look like a twink still, so that's my superpower. Is that I actually have like quite a I don't know. I have a lot of history. I know a lot about the community and what it's been like for the past 9 years. It's changed so much. So, but being on T, you know, it's been life-saving for me. When I started T, I was in heavy drug addiction and alcoholism, like in active use. I was 18 and I was really close to killing myself. And even in the haze of addiction and all of it, and not knowing anything about the medical system or insurance or anything like that, and living all by myself, I still managed to make my way over to a free clinic in San Francisco and start hormones. And that I think really saved my life. And eventually like gave me the clarity and the comfort to get sober. So I think it really did save my life.
I mean, I appreciate you like talking about that and sharing all of that, and it sounds like a lot. And I'm curious, like, I hear that phrase like it's life saving, and I'm curious to know, like, can you like maybe tell me a little bit more about that phrase? Like, what does it do or give you, or in what ways is it life saving?
That's a really good question. Well, for me, I grew up like I was a really troubled teen, quote unquote. Like I didn't go to school. I dropped out a bunch. I was really, I was just like rebellious in a lot of ways. And I think that for me, my discomfort gave me this sense of like, it doesn't really matter what I do to myself because it's not my body. Like I didn't know how to identify with my body. So like when you look at your body, you're like, oh, this is my body, like whatever, not even a question. But for me, it was like these parts literally felt like they weren't mine. And so I didn't care what happened to them. So it wasn't this like natural, like, oh, I just like, I need to protect myself. It was like, I don't give a fuck about what happens to me. So I tossed myself into a lot of dangerous situations. I just was always putting my life on the line because I needed like an adrenaline rush in order to feel alive. And in order to feel like I existed, I needed to go to extremes all the time. So it was like, that's how the alcoholism and stuff just really like skyrocketed at such a young age, because I was just like, oh, at least I can feel something and not feel the discomfort of being in my skin, you know, while I'm high or whatever. So in a lot of ways, it's like it's life-saving because it's like it allowed me to recognize myself in the mirror and be able to recognize my body as mine so that I could want to keep it alive.
Wow.
You know, that's the best way to explain it, I think.
Is that when we talk about gender dysphoria, is that what you're describing? And is that the experience? What I guess I'm asking is like what you're talking about is very existential to me. It's like, you know, your lived experience versus the truth, but sometimes I hear gender dysphoria as being something that sounds more acute, right? Like it's sensations in your body or like a physical discomfort. Is that true? Can you say more about gender dysphoria for me?
I think, well, I mean, obviously, like everybody's description of it is going to be different because they have their own, you know, perspective on their own experience, right? But for me, it's a lot, like it was very emotional. It was very like existential, like you said. Like it was like, this isn't mine. Like what is mine? What is a body? What is a mind? Like what makes something feel like mine versus not? And like, how can I live in this reality knowing that this is my body, but then like act like it's not? Like how, like I was having these thoughts at like age 8. Like I was like tripping out on this shit while other kids were just like playing in the sandbox. Inside, I'm just like sitting in the grass, just like tripping out. So that for me is the main aspect of dysphoria. But then also there was a discomfort. There was like a physical sensation. There was I kept, when I was younger, I would try to explain to my therapist, I just want to unzip my skin and walk out of it. I felt like claustrophobic, and I would like grab at my skin and try to like pull on it to like get at, like it was like a horror movie for me.
Did people understand that?
No. No. And I was one of those kids that wasn't trying to hide anything. I wasn't like sneaking around. Like I was really out loud, hey, I'm in pain. I need help. I'm cutting myself. Here's my scars. Like, give me help, please, please, please. And my parents were really under the impression that it was all going to pass and that I was going to, you know, it was a phase and whatever. And they loved me, but they were so in their own world. They couldn't really see me. So, but I really tried. I mean, I took myself to therapy when I was in like high school. I just started going by myself.
Wow. For me, my self-harm has often been about trying to prove, like, one, to stop the feeling, stop like the swirling, and then also to be able to show to people, like, to describe depression or how things feel is really difficult, but to show someone a cut is much easier. I'm curious what kind of yours was for you.
Yeah, I think that the cutting thing was such a cry for help. I mean, I was even aware of it when I was doing it. I was like, this will show them. I needed to show them like a physical depiction of the pain that I was in.
Yeah.
And even that, like, I thought, oh, like, and because it's so dramatic, like, it'll really get them to notice. But it was like the language wasn't around at that time when I was in high school. Like, we weren't saying transgender. I was out as a lesbian. I was like out at a young age. I was 15 when I came out as a lesbian. And that didn't fix everything. You know, it allowed me to justify wearing boys' clothes, which was good, and cutting my hair short, which is like, you know, that was the reason why I said I was a lesbian, because I just wanted to cut my hair.
To cut your shirt. That's like creative thinking. That's like creative problem solving.
That's a common thing, actually, for a lot of trans masks. A lot of their stories, it's like, oh, I just wanted a reason to cut my hair, so I said I was a lesbian. But like a lot of us, you know, after we start transitioning, realize that we are actually into men, and we like denied ourselves the ability to like really go after having crushes on men before we started feeling comfortable in our bodies, and, you know, a lot of us starting hormones. And I, like, people always say, oh, testosterone makes people gay. Like, have you ever heard that?
I have not.
I think it just gives us like the freedom to be able to see men as options. Whereas before it was like, I was too in my jealousy and whatever. I couldn't let myself be attracted to men before, because I was like too uncomfortable in myself.
So I do want to ask, testosterone and going on T, did that affect your libido? And can you say, like, I've heard things like psychological changes or changes to libido or changes to even like how your orgasms feel? Like, how much of that did you experience, or what was it like?
Yeah, well, I started out, before I started T, I had a really big clit. I always did. And I thought I was really like weird because of it when I was like showering with my friends or whatever, when I was like at sleepovers, and like we'd all like get naked, but not to like be like, you know, sexy or anything. Sure. It was like we would just be changing. I'd like notice the other people's like pussies and be like, wow, everything's like really tucked in. And I'd be like it wasn't like that for me. So when I started T, everything grew a lot, and what used to be like a source of shame ended up being like a source of like, I have like big clit energy. Yeah. So like a big reason why I think I talk about it all the time is because I do feel like quite confident about the stuff that I've got. So not only did it grow, but it also, my libido, I got like way hornier, and I was 18 when I started, so like I was already horny. Yeah. But then, I remember like not even being able to get through the day without jerking off like at least 5 times. Like, wow. I was really going through it. Yeah. And it was like annoying, actually. Like, I was like, oh, this again. But back in the early days, like I could come in like 2 seconds. It was like wild. And I mean, it was awesome. And also like, I remember like walking around, like my boxers would like chafe, and like it would like be uncomfortable because it was like newly sensitive, and it was like the first thing that I noticed when I started T.
Interesting.
Yeah.
You've talked in some of your Instagram videos about your connection and relationship to masculinity, and especially you've mentioned feeling like more feminine masculinity. I'm curious, especially thinking about T, but just in general, like what your relation to masculinity is.
Yeah, I think the definitions of masculinity and femininity are so like subjective and stupid, and I also think it's like fun to play with. So at this point in my like evolution, my life, my whatever maturity, I really only use them as a way to play and to speak lightheartedly about myself and my mannerisms, but nothing is concrete and nothing is like, I would never use those words to like beat myself up anymore. And I used to a lot. So I feel like, you know, the way that I've like navigated healing masculinity and stuff within myself and like toxic traits is just by acknowledging, you know, the pressures of, you know, identifying as a man and like what comes with that, and trying to like get honest about, you know, what that's like. Like it's wild to feel insecure when I'm like shaking someone's hand and not knowing like how firm to shake it, and like that's so stupid. Like that's so silly. There's so many like things that are just fake. There's like silly little constructs. So I feel like the way that I've navigated it is just by being like honest about how silly it all feels, and not taking things so seriously. Because I mean, when I was first starting like to come out and stuff, I would watch videos on like how to pass as a man. Like change your walk, change the way you talk. Like, okay, so guys, they wear snapbacks. So buy yourself a snapback. Like you got to wear your hat backwards. Like don't wear shirts that are too tight because your tits will show. So like it was like I remember the video. It was like two guys. There were two trans guys, and they were like wearing like baggy clothes, and they were just like, yeah, this is how you do it. So fucking do it. I'm like, and I remember I was like taking notes. Like I was like, okay, because this is the way you have to do it. So after 9 years, I'm fucking tired. Like I don't want to pretend. The reason why I came out was so that I could feel more comfortable in myself, not so that I could put myself in another box to like figure out how to, you know, I was trying to be a girl for so long. And now, like, I'm trying to be a guy. Like, I don't want to try, you know? Like, that's the whole point.
Yeah. It's interesting. I would expect, and probably still do expect, that a lot of the toxic masculine traits come from the outside world, but you're also describing some of these traits coming from within the trans community of here are these norms, here are these things to do. I'm curious, has that changed? Or do you still get, okay. Do you still get that within the trans community?
I mean, the guys that unfollowed me because I said the word pussy, that's one blatant example of toxic masculinity, misogyny within our community. And it's like they felt completely justified in their anger towards me. Like they were like, one of the comments was like, I thought this was a safe space for trans men, and it's clearly not because you said the word pussy, and that is a triggering word for me. And I was like, I mean, when did I ever say this was a safe space? First of all, like I didn't say that. Like nowhere is safe for us. Are you kidding me? Like not anywhere on the internet, like especially, you know, but nowhere is safe for nowhere is 100% safe for anybody. We all have different triggers. Like,
well, and it's your pussy. Don't you get to call it what you want to, right?
Exactly. That's, you know, and a lot of folks, I will say, like, I don't want to just paint this picture like it was just that. It was mostly people being like, thank you so much for using that word. Thank you. Like, I get those DMs like daily from folks saying, thank you so much for normalizing this word. Pussyboy has helped me with, you know, being comfortable in my skin. It makes me feel sexy. My partner calls me a pussy boy during sex, and now I feel hot. Like, that is the overwhelming feedback that I get from folks. So I want that to be very clear.
Yeah. Go buy Pussyboy merch, everybody.
Yeah. Yeah, it's all hand screen printed by me at a trans-owned screen printing shop here in LA. So
that's amazing.
Very cool.
Yeah. It's interesting. It seems like you're describing like a playfulness and a levity and a use of words in fun way as like one of your ways that you kind of deal with some of these traits or norms or expectations. Where do you think you got that ability to be lighthearted and joke about some of these and play with some of these words?
You got some good questions. I'm really impressed.
Oh, thanks.
I love that you said levity. That's one of my favorite words. That's like what I try to do is bring levity to these topics that have felt so heavy and so like just like life or death for so long. I think that, I think that it honestly, like my like trauma response that I like developed over the years has just been like to find the humor in situations. And I think that's, a common thing a lot of us do.
Yeah.
And, I noticed that like a lot of times with trans stuff, specifically trans mask stuff, like everything just seems so serious and so like solemn and like poetic, but like in a really heavy way. And it's just like so like, oh, and I love sad shit. I'm like so pro sad shit. Like I listen to sad music, I write sad songs, I love it. And I think that it's important to show multiple sides of the story. And if I can bring some humor to something that has felt super hard to deal with, then I will, and that has been like the way that I've healed the most, is by like being able to laugh and not take myself so seriously either. Like I think celebrity culture and like influencer culture and social media, like there's this really intense pressure to seem like almost like apathetic and like chill. Like just like unfazed, like, like I didn't know this was recording. Like I post like a blurry photo because I don't give a fuck. Like, and I just think that's honestly kind of lame. I like caring about stuff, and I think it's cool to, to show that and not take myself so seriously, not be so contrived.
Yeah. Something else you've mentioned in one of your videos is your journey with like religion and spirituality. And it did kind of surprise me that like the fact that you described like kind of coming back to it. So I'm curious if you can talk a little bit about that journey.
Yeah, I was raised like really spiritual. My mom's a minister. I went to church camp, but it wasn't like typical Christian church camp. It was like, God is love and we are love. So we all have God within us and running in and through us, and we're made up of a body, mind, and a spirit. And like it was very woo-woo. Manifesting, law of attraction, like all of that stuff was just like embedded in my upbringing and meditation and whatever. So that stuff really like held a lot of weight for me, especially as a teenager, going through like what I mentioned earlier. And then coupled with having to go to church camp while I'm dealing with like all this other shit, it just made everything really confusing, I think, for the most part. I wasn't really able to like comprehend spirituality at the time. I was just sort of like going through the motions, trying to make my mom happy. And then when I got sober, I realized that all the tools that I had been brought up with would come in handy for me, because in 12-step, they say like you need to find a higher power. And a lot of folks come in with spiritual trauma, religious trauma that actually stop them from wanting to progress in 12-step, because they're like, oh, God of my understanding. Well, the God of my understanding was like a really punishing God that sucks. Yeah. And for me, it was like, oh, God is love. I could do that. So it was actually a lot easier for me to like welcome that aspect of the program. And then it worked for me, and I like really got more comfortable with my spirituality. But then I started dating somebody who was like a really strict atheist, and we had a lot of conversations about spirituality and atheism and all this stuff. And over time, I like had this epiphany where I was just like, what if it all is just stupid? And what if there is nothing but what I can see in front of me? And I like had this amazing awakening where I was just like, fuck it, God is dead. Like I'm just going to focus on what I can see and touch, and that's it. And that was really important for me. But then over time, I started to soften again to the idea of like, at least like being more in the agnostic realm of just like, I don't fucking know. Like it's kind of arrogant to think that I know.
Yeah.
You know? So I think I prefer humility over everything. So I'm like, what's the most humble approach to spirituality? Okay, it's probably that I just can say, I don't know. So might as well do what feels the best, Yeah. And that's kind of like what helps me move through the world, is like, okay, checking in with myself, like what feels good. And that's my spirituality, is just like tuning into myself.
What else has been feeling good for you lately? What feels good for you these days?
I mean, I live in the most beautiful home right now, and it's new. Me and my partner just moved into this place in late December, so it feels new. But like we're in Laurel Canyon, so I like have this view of the city. I'm like looking at it right now, and it's where Joni Mitchell lived when she was writing her music, and I just feel so connected. I feel inspired. I have a barber shop in the backyard that I can take clients and, create this really amazing space. I love doing hair. I love the feeling of connecting with people and helping them feel like themselves. And, I don't know. I think I've created a life where I don't have to do anything I don't want to do. And that's just been based on like gravitating towards what feels good. And, this feels good. I love talking to you guys.
Oh, thanks. Well, it's very nice to hear all of these like experiences, and I really appreciate you sharing everything. What else do you got, Mike?
I want to ask about the whole T for T thing, which I also see on dating apps a lot. And what's your dating experience been? Have you dated cis people? Have you dated trans people? All of the above. Can you compare and contrast what those experiences are like?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I'm a hoe. I've been around.
Yeah.
I'm like a romance hoe though. Like I've loved falling in love. So I've fallen in love a lot in my life. And I've dated cis people. The last cis person I dated was a hot mom I grew up like thinking was really hot, and then like later on she like came to visit LA and was like, "Do you want to get dinner?" And I was like, "Yeah, like I'm fucking 26 now." And then we like ended up dating. So that was exciting. And she was great. She was like really queer and like affirming, and she liked effeminate guys. So that felt really good because I was with this like older woman who was like really into like effeminate guys. So it was fun. Like there were certain things that were challenging because like you can never like know, even if you're like in a T for T relationship, you're never going to know exactly each other's experience. But I will say that like being with a trans person, I'm with a trans femme person now, and we have been dating for 10 months now. And the experience of like just knowing like that it's just like one layer of comfortability that you just can't get to with a cis person. It's just like this, like even though the cis woman that I was dating was like incredible and exceptional in so many ways, there was still this like, you're never going to really know me kind of feeling. And with my current partner, it's like, I can relax more than I've ever been able to relax with a partner before. And I think there's a lot of factors that go into that. I don't think it's just because they're trans. I think they're also my soulmate. But that the trans thing really helps a lot.
Sure. Yeah.
And
yeah,
have y'all posted videos of giving each other like T and E? Have y'all posted? Haven't I seen videos like that? Okay.
Just one.
Yeah. One. Okay.
Yeah. That was a cute one. We did that. People were super sweet about the whatever. They commented nice things, and then a lot of people were like, "Wait, what are you doing? Are you giving each other your own hormones? Like, what?" Like, it was, yeah. The internet is so funny. I just came out with a new shirt that says "Nuance is hot," because I was just thinking about how like the internet just does not leave any room for nuance at all, and like everyone just jumps to such black and white conclusions, and it's just so like if you scroll on comment sections, it is like. It's just amazing to watch humanity interact with each other.
Yeah.
It's astounding.
And depressing as fuck sometimes too.
Completely. I mean, I follow like a lot of like Christian mom meme pages on Facebook.
Okay.
just to read the comments.
Yeah.
It's incredible. It's like it's better than anything. It's better than any reality show.
I have lately been addicted to like podcasts that have been going on for so long that the hosts don't give a shit anymore and the show's mediocre, but people still listen. And I go onto Reddit and I read all the people commenting on all the new episodes. And that is my reality TV. That is my Real Housewives. That is my like fill of drama. And I'm like a little bit embarrassed, but also still I'm so excited to do it every single week. I'm like,
That's so funny.
It's a weird life.
I get that. I also like go on mom hacks on TikTok or Instagram, like mom hacks, and then read those comments because it's like put your baby in a blow up kiddie pool in the living room and put toys and blankets and it'll be so fun. And then like a few comments are like, oh my god, this is a genius idea. And then the next like 2,000 comments are just like, your baby's gonna die. And it's so funny. I love it.
Okay, so Ezra Michel, before we go to a break, I want to ask you real quick. We have a lot of listeners who are younger and just getting started, and we know that a lot of them are trans. And do you have any advice to share with that audience who's just getting started on this journey for themselves?
Yeah, I think that my advice is to remember that the thing inside you that told you that you were queer or trans or whatever is the thing that's going to guide you through all of it. So remember to listen to that primarily before any other external voice or advice or anything. Like you have the compass inside you. If I could do it and I was like in my, druggy haze, then you could do it too. Like it's always there and it's always available to you. If you get quiet and listen, it'll tell you what to do next, So you have the answers within you, child.
I love that.
That's wonderful. Yeah.
It's like, I don't know, Yoda or something. It was
probably. If I've ever, that's the little one, right?
Yeah.
I'm him. Sure.
All right. Well, then you want to take a break?
Yeah, let's take a break.
Okay, let's take a break.
Break.
This is the part where Mike and Kyle take a break.
All right, so are we back?
We're back.
We're back.
We are going to do our Gayest and Straightest.
We're going to do our Gayest and Straightest, but first, Ezra Michel, where can people find out more about you, what you're up to, where they can buy your pussyboy shirts? Like, tell us all the things.
So you can follow me on Instagram, Ezra Michel Music, and then you can follow my pussyboy apparel account. That's pussyboy apparel with a underscore for the U, because pussy, I couldn't put pussy as my handle, unfortunately. And then welcome home hair for my barber shop account, and that's Ezra Michel Music on TikTok as well. And I think that's and then pussyboyapparel.com is where you can buy my merch, but it's also linked to my Instagram, so you can go to my IG shop if that's easier for you.
Follow Ezra. Highly recommend. Great music, great content, great shit.
Aww.
So absolutely go follow Ezra.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Well, our website is gayishpodcast.com.
We are on all the socials except TikTok at Gayish Podcast.
Our hotline, you can send us text messages or leave us voicemails. It's 5855-GAYISH. That's 585-542-9474. Standard rates apply. By the way, we've gotten some great gayists and straightists in voicemail that we will play in future episodes. Please keep sending those in. We love them.
Yes, absolutely. Our email is gayishpodcast@gmail.com.
Our physical mailing address is Post Office Box 19882, Seattle, Washington, 98109.
Two reminders.
Patreon Happy Hour, Wednesday, May the 3rd at 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 p.m. Eastern. Everyone at any level of Patreon can join us for that Zoom call, and we're posting the Zoom link in the Patreon app, so look there.
And tickets for our Six City Tour are available May 1st. Some gayishpodcast.com/live to look for those tickets.
Yeah, please buy tickets and please come so we don't cry.
Please come.
Yeah.
Boy, have I said that line before.
Yeah.
Okay. Gayest and Straightest.
Time for Gayest and Straightest. You want me to go first?
Yeah, go for it.
Great. So the straightest thing about me this week was last night when you and I rode home from that birthday party. I was driving the Jeep, and another friend joined us who was climbing into the Jeep and goes, "Oh, do you have a dog?"
Oh.
I haven't had a dog in. When was the dog's episode?
Oh, boy.
It's like 4 or 5 years now. I just am that disgusting that there's still dog hair in my Jeep years later.
Yeah. We need to just take a quick vacuum or or not, or live your life.
Yeah. I mean, I do.
You do.
Yeah. And then the gayest thing about me this week, I think that I've talked about the hot trainer Dakota at the gym before. He usually is wearing like really baggy clothes. Like he's still hot despite like wearing these like shapeless, formless clothing. Woo, Dakota was in a tank top yesterday or a couple of days ago. And I totally got called out for like not paying attention because I was
by Dakota,
not by Dakota, but by John, who was the trainer that I was assigned that day. Yeah, he's like, "Are you even paying attention?" It's like, "Oh no, I'm sorry." And then I turned bright red because like I was clearly like, I didn't know that Hot Dakota has like everything that I thought about his body was absolutely true and had a full like tattoo sleeve and like.
Dakota.
I was drooling. It was bad. How about you, Kyle? Go.
My gayest is I was just at my appointment for my PrEP every 3 months, get STI and HIV testing. And when we were scheduling my next follow-up one, I was like, can we do that for the week after Pride? I don't know. Maybe I might want some STI and HIV screening the week after Pride. And she was super chill. The PrEP nurse was like, absolutely, let's do it then. The other thing is I feel like I'm pretty medically competent on a lot of these topics, but I did not know about, so I learned about DoxyPep, which I will now tell everyone about. DoxyPep, have you heard of, do you know?
Doxycycline?
Yes.
Okay.
So it's post-exposure for potential exposure to chlamydia or gonorrhea. There is a pill that you can have on hand and take if you are exposed to either of those or worried that you are. It's one pill that you can take afterwards. So I was like, oh, I'm generally slutty. Like that would be nice. So I'm going to talk to my doctor about maybe getting DoxyPep. So, but yeah, had no idea that was even a thing.
I was just going to make the joke that at Pride they should hand out Z-Packs to everybody. Apparently, like
they are. Well, not for free because obviously, but yeah. Ezra, what about you? What is your gayest and straightest?
Wait, did you do Straightest?
That was my straightest, is not knowing about the medication for chlamydia.
That's pretty straight. Gayest was me and my partner were going to have sex, and then I noticed that I had a lot of butt hair. I went to the shower and I shaved my butt hair, and they didn't know that I did that, but I like secretly ran to the shower and did that. That's pretty gay, I think. And then straightest, I started lifting. If you can see, my muscles are really muscling right now.
Yeah.
So I'm like a generally pretty small guy, and I'm like starting to like learn how to actually eat food and bulk and lift things. So that's pretty straight. I feel very straight and now my entire For You page is just a bunch of bodybuilding people, because it's like, I think I like.
You are on the road to gym bro now.
I know. Like, I mean, yeah, I'm excited. We'll see. I want to be able to like lift my partner up like really easily. So that's the goal.
Oh, nice. Well,
that's pretty straight.
Yes, that's very straight. Perhaps the straightest.
Yeah.
Follow Ezra's TikTok and Instagram for more.
Yeah. There's plenty of that slutty shit.
Plenty of that slutty shit. You know our audience already.
Well,
I do.
Ezra Michel, thank you so much for being here today. What a wonderful conversation.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. This has been incredible. You guys are great.
We really appreciate it.
Thank you.
That is it. Oh, you're looking at me because I'm supposed to say things now.
You're supposed to thank people that give us money.
Yes. I'm ready and prepared. I would like to thank our super gap bridgers: Andrew Bugby, Christopher N., John Carley, Stephen Porch, Yost Osel, Harry Shaw, Josh Copeland, Jonathan Montañez, Wadu, Forrest Nail, Patrick Martin, James Barrow, Steve Douglas, Explosive Lasagna, Michael Covington, Just Jamie, Kevin Henderson, Thomas B. Timothy Sora, Dusty Sands, A. Coleman, Chris Cacciatorians, and Jerome York. One of these days I will get it in one breath.
Well, that is it. This has been Gayish from the Chris Cacciatorian Studios. I'm Mike Johnson.
I'm Kyle Getz. Until next week, be butch, be fabulous, be you. Bye.
See you next week. Bye. That's a cute word, I hear.
Yeah, your questions were like not invasive at all.
Oh, we should have tried harder then or something.
I know. I
No,
was like, wow, this is good. It was easy.